So here we are at Quinton Methodist Church in Birmingham, and we're at the Quinton auction, which happens on the last Tuesday of every month. And I've brought about 30 items along to put through the auction, so we'll pop inside and see what's happening. And you can see all of the organisers allocating the items into lots and giving them lot numbers. There's hundreds of items for this evening's auction, including my approximately 30 items, which we'll have a look at in a second. So this is the calm before the storm, and this room will be rammed later on from 6 o'clock in the evening onwards for about 3 hours, and then we'll put all these items through the auction. Lots of individual sellers. It's a great way to move on stock that you've picked up from house calls. I don't do clearances as such. I really go do house calls and cherry pick items. And there's my little collection of items for the auction, which we'll look at in closer detail, and they're ready and waiting to be allocated lot numbers. So the auctioneer will be based on the stage, and the audience will be seated, as you can see, and on the hall floor, as opposed to be seated on the ceiling. Don't know why I said that. So rather than make a haul video of that house clearance, you've seen the first tub. I thought what I'd do is take it all to auction, and I can show you the items individually now that I've decided. Rather than putting on my antiquecentral.co.uk website, I'm going to go to auction. So we'll start off with a set. This will be one job lot of 4 postcard albums. They're from the 70s, so they're shiny finish, which doesn't give them any value at all really, which is why they will be sold as a job lot. And they are from locations around the UK, as you can see: Paynton, Ilfracombe, Lizard, Sussex. So they're all pretty much the same, a whole collection of holiday postcards with some other additional postcards thrown in as well, a bit of variety. And there you can see there are some that will be of interest to collectors. For example, there's a postcard of Concord, and it's just adds to the overall desirability of the lot. There's some international ones here: Lanzarote, which Calgary, mixed in with Swansea and Mumbles. So an eclectic collection of postcards. That will be one lot at the auction. Next we have, this is a cutlery set, bone handle, and they're all EPNS, but it looks like the whole set is complete. And I know it's EPNS because there's a mark on the actual finish. So no great value again, not expecting to get much out of that. If I can get around £10 for the postcard collection, if I can get up to a £5 for the cutlery set, I'd be happy with that. Then we have, which I think I featured in the first video, the Bible, the family Bible, but there's no inscriptions, the cover's falling off. Pretty worthless, to be quite honest. That may well have to be rolled into another lot. As I've said to the auctioneer, I don't want anything back. So if something doesn't sell, they will roll it into the next lot and just add it to it. Then we have a couple of prints. That's an etching, looks like Venice, I would say. No, probably an antique etching in a modern frame. It's not mounted, so a couple of pounds for that. And this is possibly a sampler, and it's Garrard Engineering and Manufacturing Company Limited, and it looks like a sort of a gilt print of an invoice, an old invoice, so it has some industrial interest perhaps to a collector, but I don't really know much more about it. I couldn't really tell you at this stage what I'm going to get for that, but the two that will be sold along with the Venice etching. Next up we have, these are little dancers' symbols from Malaysia or some part of Southeast Asia, I would have thought. Again, a couple of pounds for those, I would imagine. Then we have a little set of bellows for the fire. They're a little bit more popular than they were now, but again, the condition of them, I wouldn't expect to get more than £1 or two for that. Little embossed brass design on it. Here's a tourist piece, bamboo I would say, and it is what you can see. It's a parrot, nicely painted, vintage. Again, a couple of pounds, no more than that. Next we have, I thought at first this might have been Murano, it's a little bud vase, but I think it's probably Czechoslovakian glass, so not as valuable. A couple of pounds for that as well. Some kind of bowl fashioned out of perhaps a seed, a giant seed, tropical of some description. Don't really know much about that. A couple of pounds again, if that. Then we have a collection of trains, but not your Hornby or your Triangle. They're not even named on the bottom, look. But they are popular collections of toy trains. A couple of locomotives. As you can see, there's Thomas the Tank Engine. So I don't know if it's all Thomas the Tank yet. In fact, is that the man himself? Possibly. But they'll sell for £5 to £10, I would guess. Nice little collection. Then we have a very nice little Indian trinket box or jewellery box. It's got brass inlay around it, and with a nice design of a man and a woman sat down with a scenic view behind them. So it's a pretty little box. Possibly get a couple of pounds for that. These three ceramics will be one job lot. They're no big name attached to them at all. I think Cooper Craft, made in England. That is made in Cornwall. There are some fairly well-known Cornish potteries, but I don't think that's necessarily one of them. And then the classic Shire horse, but again, not named, so of little value. If I can get around a fiver for those, probably the best I could hope for. And then we have, again, that I think might be Italian, the lady on the left. I might be wrong there, but let me know in the comments. And then a Toby jug, Henry VIII, by Kingston Pottery. So made in England, no great value. Again, if I get £5 to £10 for those two, I'd be more than happy. And at the back we have two mid-century brass with a brass finish magazine racks, slightly different. People use those now for vinyls, put your albums in. So they do sell. Whether they'll go together or individually, I don't know, depends on the auctioneer. And again, if I can get a fiver each for those, I'll be more than happy. This is one of the more interesting lots. Here I've got a collection of pen knives. They will be, although they're in this little jewellery box, they will be separated out and sold as a separate individual lot, because pen knives do sell well. And there's a variety of these knives for different purposes. Not too sure what that one is. Perhaps fishing or something like that. And various other bone handle. Yeah, so, and then underneath that there's just a load of curios, so they'll be sold separately. The curios include bottle openers, nutcrackers, a bottle stopper, and so on. So no value really at all, a couple of pounds worth. Then we have a model of a Schneider P16 tank of some description. Would you call it a tank? A couple of pounds worth of value there, perhaps no more than that. There's some information on the bottom. Looks like it's French actually. So yeah, one for the military collector. Then we have 2 boxes of darts. Vintage darts, the feathers and the brass handles, so to speak. I don't know what you call them. And this one though has been, looks like it's been signed by someone, I'm not sure. Obviously came out of an auction before. Got some age, these darts, and again there are collectors of this sort of thing. But again, if I get a couple of quid for those, that's probably all I can hope for. This is quite a nice German, yeah, Germany, West German vase, ceramic vase. I don't know if it's Schurig or not. There's no damage to it, colour's quite interesting. They always sell, so I may get £5 to £10 for that. And I believe this is also German, yep, it says on the bottom there, Germany. Colour's not very attractive, to be honest. What you're looking for with the German vases are reds, oranges, vibrant colours. That's a sort of a 1970s brown, but still West German, so could sell. Now, maybe I should keep this. Antiques Roadshow, 40 years of great finds. Get a couple of pounds for books. Books are 10 a penny now, aren't they? With everything online, but someone might be interested in that, given it's an antiques auction. We then have an industrial aluminium light shade. If I can get a couple of pounds for that, be happy. And that will more than likely be in the same lot as this 1980s light shade brass, which I think featured in the first video I did. Not much to say about this at all here, it's just a box. Probably a cigar box back in the day. That probably won't even sell and will be rolled into another lot. You effectively get that free of charge. This is quite interesting, little photo album. Sort of photos later on from the 1930s and 1940s. Nice little, actually the album's quite nice. It's got the clasp on it, which still works. Little armorial shield on the front, leather bound. So if I can get £5 for that, I'd be happy. It does lock up. There you go. So that's quite nice. And then we have railway book, the Stockton and Darlington Railway and what followed. We have an Austin Montego Haynes manual, and that vintage car cover that I showed you in the first video. And finally, we have a whole box of Breweriana. It's called Breweriana because it's all brewery related beer items. And we also have a Coca-Cola, a rubber Coca-Cola bar mat. So if I can get £10 for that box there, I'd be happy. So there you go, that's everything. The auctioneer will be dividing them into the lots over the next hour or so, and I'll be in attendance this evening and we'll see what we get. and I hope to give you the results of the auction at the end of this video. So fingers crossed. I don't think I'm going to get anywhere near my money back. I think it has been a bit of a disaster, this house clearance. Well, house call, I should say. But you live and learn. You never stop learning. And as they say, the best way to learn is by your mistakes. What's the expression? If you haven't made a mistake, you've never actually done anything. So I must have done quite a lot over my lifetime. Now, I've also got some other stock that came out of that house call, which I haven't taken to the auction because it's going on my website, which is antiquecentral.co.uk, which is, I can never remember which side of the screen it's going to appear on. So check that out if you get a chance, and let me know what you think of the stock I've got up for sale. So let's have a quick look at the items I've kept back to put onto the website. So all of this came from the house call, and this is the stock that's going to go onto the website. Now, first up, we have a model traction engine. Now, it is effectively a model. It's not a mamod. It's not a working steam miniature. So value-wise, I would estimate on my website, including shipping, I'd probably put that up for around £25. Then we have a cast iron sheep doorstop. You can tell it's a doorstop because the back, as you can see, is completely flat, so it can be pushed against a door. It's heavy, no maker's mark on it, but a nice piece nonetheless, and that could go possibly around the £15 to £20 mark, including shipping. I think I showed you these in the first video, which are the two metal alloy decorative pieces of a man trying to tame or a horse, a wild horse. There's two of them, which adds value. And depending on the overall condition, because there is some loss of the gilt, the bronze gilt, you might be looking at around £30 to £40 for the two. There's also this vase. Now, Chinese or Japanese, don't know. There's no mark on the base, which as ever is really helpful. It is old. It is nicely decorated. There's some piped detail. I think it's hand painted. It's not transfer printed. And the rim of the vase is interesting because although it looks absolutely knackered, if you pardon the French, whether it's a crude repair, I don't know. But I'm going to get this evaluated before I sell it. I don't know the value on this. Might be nothing. Might be the equivalent of a pound shop vase from China or Japan. I don't know. But rule of thumb, if you don't know, don't list it. Do your research and find out the true value of it, which could be something or it could be nothing. This little cast iron trivet or pot stand I bought from an antique fair at the weekend. So that's not part of the haul. Neither is this glass terrarium. However, this German vase is. Now, I kept this one back. Remember when I was going through the items that I've taken to the auction, I said what you want to be looking for are vibrant colours. And this particular vase, which is German, it's a bit difficult to see, but trust me, I'm an antique dealer, that is German. And it is a lava, what they call the lava type of vase. It's this decorative glaze, looks like lava from a volcano. And that's a nice piece, and it's got that slightly more vibrant yellow compared to the boring browns and creams that you get all the time. So there you go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 additional items. There's a bit of value in this stock here compared to the stock at the auction. Probably in the region of, I'd probably be hoping to get around £25 for this vase. As I said, 20 to 25. So I've probably got around £100 worth, with the unknown being the vase there, the Chinese or Japanese vase. So I paid £150 in total for everything that you've seen. I don't think I'm going to get my money back. To be honest with you, I may get somewhere between 100 and 150 for the whole lot. So I've had a bit of a spanking on this particular haul, which is my fault entirely. I've effectively cleared a customer's house and paid them for the privilege. So there you go. You live and learn. Well, you never stop learning. So the burning question is, what did I actually make on the night at the auction? Well, I've got the figures here, so we'll go through them quickly and we'll look at what I achieved on each of my lots. It was a great start. The 2 mid-century brass magazine racks didn't sell, so they were rolled into the next lot, which was the vintage Bible. So for the 2 vintage magazine racks and the antique Victorian Bible, I achieved £3. The vintage books and the vintage seat cover also achieved £3. The 2 ceramic horses and the donkey sold for £3. The early 20th century photo and postcard album sold for £12, and that was the best lot of the night for me. The 4 albums of vintage postcards, which don't forget were shiny finish, so not that valuable, sold in total for £5. The cream and brown West German vase sold for £3. The antique etching of Venice and the antique invoice sampler sold for a total of, wait for it, £2. The auctioneer grouped the wooden parrot, the box, the dish and the brass bellows, and they sold for a total of £3. I was slightly disappointed with this next lot, which was the blue West German vase and the Murano style glass basket. They only sold for £4. The figurine of the lady on the marble base and the Henry VIII Toby jug didn't sell, so they were rolled into the next lot, which was the cased army tank, and they all sold for a combined total of £3. The 2 boxes of vintage darts sold for £6, and the canteen of cutlery sold for £2. The small box of curios, including an antique nutcracker and the silver-plated baby's pacifier, sold for a total of £3. I was slightly disappointed with this next lot, which was the box of vintage penknives. They only sold for £5. And in hindsight, I think one of them was a military knife. The vintage industrial lamp and the 1980s glass and brass lamp sold for a combined total of £3. And this was grouped with the Far Eastern tambourine set. The bag of Thomas the Tank Engine trains sold in total for £5. And finally, the box of Bruriana sold for £8. So in total, all of my items sold for £79. They were broken down into 22 lots. So after fees, which includes £1 per lot, plus 10% of the hammer price, I was left with £49.10. So am I happy with that? Well, to be honest, yes I am. Overall, I'm happy with it. Generally speaking, it was a clear out of a very poor house call, and most of it I would classify as flea market stock, to put it politely. So to achieve almost £50 back for it, I've got to be happy with that. It just shows that any auction can be a volatile environment, and it all depends who walks through the door and whether they're looking for your items or not. On the night, it was busy. The vast majority of the buyers in there, I think, were other dealers and resellers. So obviously, they're trying to get items, they're trying to get stock for next to nothing. Fair play to them. I'd be doing exactly the same thing. So I was never expecting any of the items to fly, although I did expect the penknives to go for more money, and possibly the 4 postcard albums, even though they were shiny postcards from the 1970s and not, mid-century cartoon style. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm happy. I think if you want to get rid of stock quickly, effectively, then these pop-up auctions are the place to go. I would recommend them. And the Quinton auction, as I said, the last Tuesday of every month. I'll put some contact details down below. And yeah, hope to see you there maybe one day if you're in the area. So that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to grow the community and the channel. And as ever, the most important thing of all, please take care and stay safe.